You sure?
My bad.
Yeah. No. Welcome back to Sports on Tap, everybody. This is Ed Dick.
We almost
with
made it.
Josh Jeffy and Sean Duffy. Ron Trotman is on assignment. We are live on Mixler.com/Sports on Tap for week 9 of our recaps. We are part of the NEO Sports Insiders Network. Catch us on YouTube, iTunes, our Twitter handles at SOT Podcast. We have already discussed the Greater Cleveland Conference, the Southwestern Conference, and the Suburban League American and National Division. Sean Duffy is going to tell you what, for his, Duffy is a working man here, and every so often he is also on assignment on Monday nights. So generally, I will take care of his American League division for him. He is trying to make up for everything in one shot here. By he's already talked about the Southwestern Conference. He's talked about his own division, the Suburban League American division. Now he's not only going to cover the Buckeye Bucks in their contest this past weekend, but he's also going to help talk about the game of the week that we are at, Avon Lake and Midview. So take it without any further ado, Duffy. We got to get you some chocolate milk after this,
right?
But
right?
Go nuts, man.
All right. Well, week 9 saw another fantastic defensive performance by the Buckeye Bucks. They were facing Keystone, and Keystone threw everything but the kitchen sink at them, and the defensive effort and the defensive unit for Buckeye was able to stop everything cold in their tracks. To give you guys a little bit of idea of what we're talking about, the Keystone finished with 24 yards rushing on 30 attempts.
Yes.
And only 112 yards of total offense. The quarterback for Keystone was sacked 6 times, all by defensive linemen. So big shout out to the big mollies up front getting those sacks.
Yeah.
Keystone's second leading rusher was freshman Dylan Naylor, who only got a token 7-yard carry in the last play of the game. That was the second leading rusher. The Bucs offense did not come out quite as sharp as the defensive unit did, but they got a spark on special teams on a fake punt that gained a first down, and a 37-yard play-action post pattern by Keaton Sandor immediately followed. Buckeye quarterback and do-it-all aficionado Michael Durkee broke the ice on a 4-yard touchdown score. And that kind of was the beginning of the end for Keystone. Richard Van Boxel had a 12-yard touchdown run, and Michael Durkee added another 34-yard touchdown run, and then was scored over the next 9 minutes and 13 seconds. The duo hooked up for a 3rd and 9 conversion to set up the second touchdown and effectively put the game out of reach at halftime. Anthony Watkins was able to put the final nail in the Keystone coffin with a 47-yard punt return for a touchdown in the third quarter. A couple of things that took place in this game for Buckeye was Buckeye senior quarterback Michael Durkee had 22 carries, 100 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and he joined slot back Justin Kennedy as a 1,000-yard rusher, the first time in history that Bucs teammates have accomplished this feat. So they had 2 1,000-yard rushers for the season. Senior kicker Richard Gatt broke Jim Dietz's 37-year-old career record for extra points, which was at 75 when he kicked the extra point after the punt return for a touchdown, giving him 76. Buckeye improves to 8-1 and 4-0 in the conference. Buckeyes happy with the hard-fought conference title, which they clinched that night against Keystone. But in an interview with the Medina Gazette, who does a fantastic job of covering Buckeye, Coach Pinzoni made it clear that the goal is not only to secure a home playoff game, but to win that playoff game and go deep in that playoff division. Bucks currently sit in 4th in the Division III Region 9, and with the win in Week 10 at Brookside, will clinch a home game in their first round of the playoffs. So, guys, Buckeye again showing that defensive prowess that they've had for most of the year. Their offense is very conservative. It's run, and, eventually it breaks through. But it's got to be nice for the offensive unit and the offensive coaches to know that the defense is up to any task. I mean, when we were there against Black River the week before, Black River put up 47 points, and they finished that game with like 13. So, I mean, this is a defensive unit that if I'm in the Division III playoffs, I am not looking forward to facing because they play sound, fundamental football. They get good pressure on the quarterback. They're able to recognize where the ball is. It's very impressive what that defensive unit's been able to do over the last few weeks in this season.
Yeah, they got some heavy hitters coming up in this Division III Region 9 playoffs. As you've mentioned, they have clinched a playoff spot in Division III Region 9. Right now, they are going to be jockeying for playoff positioning. Unfortunately, with their next their next opponent's not going to help them out too much in points. And both Warren Howland and Dover are 5 and 6 respectively. They both control their own destiny, and they both can leapfrog over Buckeye for that potential fourth playoff spot in the home game that comes with it. But like you said, Duff, I mean, you can't say enough about Buckeye's defense and what they've been able to do over on that side of the ball. Coach, one of my defensive coordinators is Coach Yarwood. He's taken that defense with the staff over there and have just turned them into absolute machines. They hit hard, they hit often, they're quick. I mean, if it wasn't for you got to figure right now if they were taking on Revere in Week 9 or Week 10, that the result of that game might be a little bit different than what it was in Week 1 when each team was still trying to figure things out. So congratulations to Buckeye on winning the Patriot Athletic Conference Stars Division. Hard fought, wins over Black River, Firelands, and Keystone are not easy wins to get, and they were able to take care of business. So congratulations to Buckeye. Good luck to them next week, and we'll see where they fall in the Division III Region 9 playoffs.
All right, and let's move on to our Week 9 game of the week, which saw the Avon Lake Shoremen traveling to Grafton to take on the Midview Middies. It was senior night for Midview, and senior Dustin Crum decided it was a good time to put on a show, because in a show he did. The Midview Middies were the first to get on the scoreboard thanks to a 2-yard touchdown run by the aforementioned senior quarterback Dustin Crum. A missed extra point gave Midview an early 6-0 lead. On the next offensive possession for Midview, Crum hooked up with senior wide receiver Keith Johnson for a 67-yard touchdown, and just like that, the Middies were up 13-0 with 2:48 left in the first quarter. Avon Lake was able to get on the board thanks to a 15-yard touchdown pass from senior Mark Pappas to senior wide receiver Carson Toy, and the Middies led 13-7 as the first quarter came to an end. And the Middies got the ball to start the second quarter, and it must have felt like deja vu for the Avon Lake Shoreman defense, seeing Crum connect again with Keith Johnson for a 58-yard touchdown pass that increased their lead to 20-7, with just over 11 minutes to go in the first half. Avon Lake immediately responded with a 55-yard touchdown pass from Pappas to senior running back David Marsh. The score was 20-14 with 10:08 left in the half. Dustin Crum continued his impressive first-half performance with a 36-yard touchdown run and an 8-yard touchdown pass to Seth Frombach as the half came to an end with Midview holding a 34-14 lead. Midview picked up right where they left off in the first half when Crum found Johnson for a third time and a 54-yard touchdown pass. Midview led this game 41-14 with 10:41 in the quarter, and as I mentioned earlier, Josh, it was a perfect opportunity for Avon Lake to run away and hide because it seemed like you could not stop Dustin Crum. Avon Lake, however, showed no sign of giving up as Mark Pappas found Toy again for a touchdown, cutting the Middies' lead to 41-21 with 7:40 remaining in the third quarter. The Shoremen scored again on a Mark Pappas 10-yard touchdown pass to wide receiver Caleb Burr as the third quarter came to a close, with Midview leading 41-27. Midview's Dustin Crum again continued to give the defense of Avon Lake fits as he found the end zone on a 10-yard touchdown run, increasing the Middies' lead 48-27 with 9:04 left in the game. Avon Lake refused to go quietly into this very cold evening as Pappas connected again with Caleb Burr for a 49-yard touchdown pass, and Midview still held a 48-34 lead with 7:48 remaining in the game. Dustin Crum put the final nail in the coffin with an 8-yard touchdown pass to Alonzo Banks. Midview increased the lead to 55-34 late in the fourth quarter, and Midview was able to recover an errant fumble by Avon Lake that was going into the end zone. And recovered for a touchback, and the Midview Middies were able to secure a 55-34 victory. Dustin Crum was the star of the night, star of the senior night, star of the whole freaking thing. Went for 20 carries, 200 yards, and 3 rushing touchdowns. 20 for 27, 328 yards, 5 passing touchdowns. The guy scored the guy was involved in every scoring opportunity that Midview had. Midview head coach DJ Shaw, who we interviewed after the game, said he's one of the best football players I have ever had the pleasure of coaching, and he's always wanting to put the team on his back when they needed him. And I guess tonight they needed him because it seemed like anytime this guy got the ball, he was the threat to score. Midview improves to 8-1, 7-1 in the Southwestern Conference. They will go on the road to finish up against North Ridgeville. They've solidified their position in the playoffs. I think they're even solidified a home game in the first round. So they will be looking to take care of business against North Ridgeville. Avon Lake, on the other hand, falls to 6-3 and 5-3 in the conference. They will end the season at home against North Olmsted. They're going to need to win against North Olmsted and do a little bit of scoreboard watching in order for them to make the playoffs, as we've discussed in length, over the past couple of segments here. Guys, this was a fantastic game. I was doing social media. Josh was on the camera.
It's odd. Yeah, you guys couldn't have picked a
more
interesting game to have a two-man crew.
And what was funny was the first part of the first quarter, we're like, this is kind of a running game. It's going to be a defensive battle. Then all of a sudden, just boom, 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 touchdown after touchdown. And it wasn't, like I said, there was plenty of times where Avon could have just said, you know what, they're just too good. Avon Lake could have said they're too good, but they didn't. They dug in. They played right to the bitter end. And it was unfortunate that that fumble happened because it really was a kid trying to extend the play, trying to get the score, and just lost the ball, and it fumbled right to the end zone, and the Midview guy fell right on it. I was right there and saw the whole thing. It was tough. But it was definitely a very entertaining game, and the crowd was very impressive for how cold and windy it was. Midview had senior night, but Avon Lake traveled really well, and they were into it right towards the end.
Yeah, totally agree. And you mentioned it a few times there, Sean, about how Avon Lake really never totally gave in to the fact that Dustin Crum was just doing things on the offensive end and building up numbers that, as Ed and I were texting on Saturday, most offensive as a team would enjoy having 8 touchdowns over 500 yards of offense.
He had 800 yards. He almost had 1,000 yards. It was 798 or 728. He had 500 yards passing, 200 yards rushing, 528 or 328. Sorry, my bad. Math is bad. I got excited.
Hey man,
528. Sorry,
you did a great job.
We gotta give him a little bit of a breather here. I mean,
you did a great job. Math's not your forte, but you don't need it right now. Just
still impressive though.
Still impressive,
yeah,
very
absolutely.
impressive.
There's no doubt about that.
And in the second half of that game, Avon Lake was mounting a comeback, but they just could not get over that hump because you had guys like Dustin Crum who went in there and really did what his team needed him to do: control the ball, score touchdowns when they had the opportunity, and it led to a pretty big win for Midview and Avon Lake. Yeah, this was a tough defeat late in the season, but still coming in, they can come back with a victory this week, and their hopes are still alive. So a great game, all-around great game to be at. Wasn't as cold as Sean says it was. I dressed for it, though.
I mean, you had your gloves on.
I had gloves, man.
Well,
because I knew my hands would be exposed.
Did you have 2 pairs of gloves? And
he
not
did.
Just one. Just one.
No, but you can't. I don't have the gloves where you can tweet.
Oh,
so even if I did bring gloves, the way the touchdowns were going, they'd have been on for 30 seconds and then off.
Well, at any rate, that was Week 9. We're going to move on to Week 10, and we talked about it earlier today, our Week 10 game of the week. We're going to go back to the GCC. We started this season in the GCC with Brunswick. We're going to end it by traveling to Medina, as Solon will travel to Medina. This game is for all the marbles in the GCC. Both teams have a playoff spot wrapped up, but they're going right now for conference championship bragging rights and possibly to move up for Medina, move up a little further in the Region 2. So, guys, what do you think? How are you feeling about this game coming up on Friday?
I'll tell you what. I mean, I wasn't at the Solon Brunswick game where we got absolutely shellacked. I was in the Medina Brunswick game where we absolutely got shellacked, and
so you only have one shellacking to compare it to.
I only saw one of them. I'll tell you what. I mean, the Medina game, the score looked pretty ugly. It was what it's about you expect from a 41-7 loss. I'll tell you what. I mean, Jimmy Daw is the real deal. Dylan Fultz as well. You have to wonder where this team would be if they still had John Curtis as their quarterback.
Right.
But Gavin Montgomery stepped in and done a really good job, and the defense has played very, very well this year. Solon just has athletes all over the place, so they were a very efficient team. They're the only team to give Stowe, besides Hudson, who actually beat Stowe. It's not easy to take Stowe to all 4 quarters, and that's what they were successful in doing. So, Solon has proven that they are still the class of the division, and we'll see if Medina can overcome any sort of jitters early on, knowing what is at stake here, and see if they're able to give Solon a run for their money. I think being at home will certainly help in that game. Being at home helps out all the time, anyways. But make sure when your fans are all behind you, and I have to think that's going to be that way for this Medina team, who has their first shot at conference championship for the first time in over 40 years. This could be a very special night out in Medina.
Yeah, one thing I'm looking for is a very good Solon defense going up against Jimmy Daw on that offense. I think that's going to be the key. If they can stop, they being the Solon defense, stop Jimmy Daw, I think things are really good for Solon. But on the other end, if Medina can get their offense and keep it rolling against Solon, hey, who knows? It could be another high-scoring affair like we just had last week.
Well, I know one thing. I'm really, really excited for this game. When we discussed going to this one, just because it's a de facto championship game. It's what you want. I mean, it's not just senior night at Medina. It's not just getting a home playoff game. It's, hey, we're the best in the conference, and we're going to go out there and beat you for it. I mean, you look at Solon. Solon was the only team to defeat Aurora, who basically handled the American Division in the Suburban League. So, I mean, this is going to be a clash of Solon defense, Medina offense, which have been superb all year, and I'm hoping that it is a great battle. I'm hoping that it's not windy and cold and rainy. I'm hoping that we get to see a lot of great plays like we did last week, and I'm really hoping that we can see these two teams, despite the outcome being okay. These two teams, I'd love to see them rematch in the playoffs. You know what I mean? I think that's a very real possibility in this situation. So very, very excited to head out to Medina. We'll see you guys out there.
Alrighty. For Ed Dick, Josh Jeffy. I'm sorry. For Josh Jeffy. Hey, I was messing up again. For Josh Jeffy, Sean Duffy, I'm Ed Dick. Rob Troutman, of course. This is Sports on Tap, part of the NEO Sports Insiders Network. Make sure you catch us on Mixlr at /Sports on Tap. Twitter handle is at SOT Podcast. Follow us on Friday night. We will have all the scores from our respective conferences, as well as updates on social media for the Solon and Medina contest week 10, and it's going to be the last week of the regular season. Our divisions are going to be pared down depending on who makes the playoffs going forward. So, for everybody out there, make sure you're paying attention this week. Catch us for all your needs for scores going into week 10. We want to thank everyone for listening. We will catch you guys on the other side. I haven't seen that in a while.